mean to you?
It gives me a general perspective of who I possibly am or could be.
Just you? Do you notice anything else with it? Just ask.
No.
Okay, good. Gives you a general perspective, gives you a point of reference. Okay. Anybody else? Everybody's going to get a chance to talk. Because
Yeah.
it's going to be transparent.
Just following up with Sheila, I mean, basically, you're okay. Let me stop doing the precious. For me, astrology is, thank you, Precious. You helped me out a lot. For me, astrology is the study of the planetary bodies and their effects, and, the energies, their influence and effect.
Anybody else?
I'll try.
Oh, try.
He's going to do it. He just messing
Oh,
with
that's right. I used that wrong word. I see it as a time stamp of the cosmos.
What they call it? Time what?
Time stamp. I mean, like, you know, it goes through phases just like life. It's a living organ. A living organ where I think I believe that we are not the only intelligent beings. I mean, no way, shape, or form. That we are not the most intelligent beings in no way, shape, or form.
So astrology is suggesting to you that they're more intelligent.
Of course, yeah.
Put them back in the office. On the desk in the pencil.
Precious, you know a little bit about astrology. Pull from your database.
Don't look it up.
Okay. I was trying to do an etymology of it, which astro has something to do with the study of the course of the stars.
Course,
The course that the stars take, you know, like what course it's on. That's what astro has something to do with the course that each of the stars take.
okay, this, what I'm seeing here with what we said so far, we had somebody that said planetary bodies and their effects, and now you're bringing in stars. So planets and stars, we understand the difference. Everybody understands that, right?
Okay.
So I just want you to include that into your thing. Get your head wrapped around what you're saying.
Okay.
Because these are the things you're going to talk about. Like that old guy Shakespeare said there are more things in heaven and earth than all your science is ever going to figure out. And then somebody came after him and said, there are things in heaven and earth that you're never going to figure out. Put those two statements together.
Study of the universe.
And the universe to you is,
Colin.
and what about you? Is that who you are?
Yeah.
You're a cosmos.
Colin, yeah.
So everything is out there in each one of you. You have that kind of power, that kind of firepower, that kind of intelligence, that kind of everything. Whatever's out there is you. That's what they call it, one that. You're one with that, according to astrology and the things that people look at. Now, for me, astrology is mainly looking at things and then paying attention to what you see. Because way back when astrology was first studied, they looked at the stars. You know, they didn't have the information given to them. They looked at the stars and started observing what happened when they saw the stars in certain places. what's going on. So they left that legacy for us, but today we have all these books that we go to, people who have studied what those people looked at and came up with their own renditions of what was going on, and they call that history.
Story.
Yeah, we wrote that down earlier. But astrology does tell a story. It tells a story like pretty much like all the definitions that you come up with, but it's really about us. The story is all about us and the planetary placements, if you can hear it and receive it, tell you exactly when it happened and what happened. And you don't have to listen to anybody else's interpretation. You just need to start understanding the vibration you feel. Some people throw Earth in there. Why would they do that? You have Mars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the outer planet is Saturn. Saturn is allegedly known as the taskmaster, time maker. He puts a limit and boundary on everything that man seems to know in the beginning. So that's an important principle that you need to know. So usually people start off with the sun because that's what everybody knows in astrology, their sun sign. And everything is important to know. It's good to know your sun sign. But the sun actually starts with a dot. That's infinity. That's who you are. That's who you keep forgetting who you are. That you don't have any boundaries. Even though Saturn sets up boundaries, so it'll give you that point of reference that is on our checklist of where you are and what time it is. I'm going to start this little piece of paper for you to go around, put your name and birth date on it. And I'm going to look up something in my little, what I call my little book of life. Just to reveal something to you about yourself that you already know. But it's like the mission that you're on. One of the main reasons that you came to this planet. And probably one of the main reasons you're up here in this class right now. Listen to it.
It's my name and birthday.
So people usually start with the sun sign. Everybody knows what their sun sign is. And it's important to know that because that's the place where your sun is. When they set up a birth chart for you, that's the place that you shine. The most natural. You shine. If you don't shine there, you're not going to shine anywhere. Even if you have deep feelings and you are very intelligent through Mercury and you know how to love everybody, if you're not shining where your sun is, you're missing out on why you came here.
Will you be able to tell me what my sun sign is?
Pardon?
Will you be able to tell me what my sun sign is?
Sure. You're gonna put everything down there, and we can get right into that. Now the mystery of us is that we have a lot of personality. You know, each one of these planets represents some of the masks that you wear. And some people identify with these masks more than they identify with who they really are. And that's what the sun is telling you. Actually, a lot of people think the sun sign is, oh, I'm a Leo, I'm bold, bodacious, I'm here to do this and do that. And the truth of the matter is, whatever your sun is in, what sign it's in, this is what you came to be in this life. You don't already have it in your consciousness, but you will be given opportunities and challenges to show this is who you are. A lot of people don't even like to show their sun sign, and you can tell when an astrologer sets up a chart and they do it by the time you're born. They have a thing called the rising sign, and that's who you really present yourself as. You know, people say, I'm a Cancer, but I have Sagittarius rising. And that throws a lot of people off. Sag is very outgoing, Cancer is very reclusive. But if you were to talk to them, if they come in the room, people are going to identify them mostly with that Sagittarian energy. This guy's happy-go-lucky, jolly all the time. How could he be a Cancer? And this is how astrology sometimes gets a bad rep, because they say, well, see, he's not acting like who he is. But that's just the mask that he wears. And everybody wears a mask. Masks aren't necessarily bad things because they just give you an avenue, a window to operate from. You can put this out in the world of who you really are if you want to or not. Life is always a choice, and astrology is always giving you a choice, all the time. A lot of times we don't believe we have choices, but we have to remember, in lieu of our conversation earlier today, since you're God, anything that happens in your life is part of your creation. You have set it up, whether it's challenging, good, or indifferent, lukewarm, whatever, you set it up so you can learn something more about yourself. Have that point of reference of where to go from there, what you're going to do. Now, the planetary effects that the Shep was talking about, each one of these planets ray out. The moon is the closest thing to the Earth, and everybody knows about the moon. Today, the moon is in Cancer. And astrological lore has it that Cancer is a very nurturing sign. It's the mother sign, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's all about feeling. What the moon actually does is reflect. It reflects the sun's light, and everybody knows that, but it reflects more than that. It reflects everything it gets from out in the cosmos. It tells everything that the cosmos has to say. It reflects it down to us so we know what it is. Except it doesn't tell about itself. Because you see reflected light. You don't really see the moon. You're seeing the light that is reflecting from everywhere else. And people get kind of mixed up on that. This class is supposed to bring your attention to what you're looking at and to know what you're looking at, to be aware of what you're looking at. Light rays. Our science today tells us that light travels at 186,000 miles a second. And as far as science goes, I guess that's pretty good. I'm here to share with you that light just is. It doesn't travel any place. It doesn't have any speed. Light, you can't even see it until it hits something. And then that light is reflected to your eye, which we're not going to get into because this is a biology course. But we're just dropping some of the dimes along the way to let you know what we're setting up to take you to the planets. Because it's a whole lot different than what everybody's been telling us. And that's usually the case all the time. Where am I?
Hey, could you explain a little more on that? You say light doesn't travel 186,000 miles a second?
Scientifically, I'm not going to argue with them because they've measured that speed in some kind of way.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that light isn't really a measurement. And they say, arguably, that nothing can travel faster than that.
Okay.
But I'm saying if that were true,
That's not true, but go ahead.
right? So that's what I'm pointing toward.
Okay.
Also, we want to talk about perspective. When they first did astrology, when guys first started studying astrology, I don't know if you know, you probably remember names from school, high school or college or junior high school, wherever you heard it. Guys like Galileo and Kepler or whatever. They had different ways of looking at what was what. A long time ago, when they thought the Earth was flat, they considered that Earth was the center of the universe. And that everything went around the Earth. And the moon was the closest to Earth. And this is interesting because then the next thing close was Venus, then Mercury, and what do we put the sun here? And we had Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. All of these were operating around here. Then Kepler came along. Now, this is before they had telescopes to look at things. This was before Galileo's time. He said that, according to mathematical computations, and this is from a European point of view, he said the planets don't revolve around Earth. Earth is not the center of the universe. He said the sun is the center of the universe. And so, this is what we all believe today. And I'm sharing this with you to show you that there's a change in perspective, because when Earth was considered the center of the universe, that's when we consider ourselves divine people. When we transferred it and moved it out to the sun, become the universe, now God's out there. He no longer exists within us. Now the interesting thing, when the sun becomes the center of the universe, Mercury is revolving around it, Venus is revolving around it, the Earth is revolving around it, and all these other planets do the same thing, but out the other way. But you can see that the planetary order doesn't change except the perspective. I didn't erase any of these things. It just changed from Earth being Earth-centered to sun-centered. And this is how we're looking at things today. We have been trained and indoctrinated to look at things like they're far away. And when you learn how to do that, that's what you do. But you do it with everything. That's one thing that human beings are pretty consistent about. Whatever they do it all the time. You don't have to worry about them varying from that. Sets up habits and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just showing you this because there is a difference when you think that you're earth-centered or if you're sun-centered. The sun-centered thing, even if you transfer the psychology with it, that'll make you feel in a raised consciousness like you're God. If you're earth-centered, then you're going to be a people of the earth. Fact of the matter is, we have dual citizenship. We're both of those things at the same time. Now, this is very challenging for people to think about. They say, well, how can I be God and human at the same time? And the word that I thought of, the word that came to me was an indivisible or dualistic indivisibility. They say, how's that? Just look at that word and see what comes to your mind. It starts twisting your head into a little noodle. Say, what does that look like? Because you don't have, when you pull from your data banks, because possibly, I hope you never heard that word before, unless you've been living in my head, you're pulling from...
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's what comes to mind when I think indivisible.
But I said a dual indivisibility. Indivisibility, everybody can deal with that, but when I say a dual indivisibility, I want to know what that looks like to you. There we go. And it's not separated, and there is atonement to that, or at-one-ment. You're one with everything that exists. Now, this is contrary to almost every religion, except for some of the very ancient ones that come out of the continent, and some of the ones that come out of the Far East. All of them remember it and wrote it down. When the Europeans took over Christianity, because they didn't start it, they were persecuted Christians for over 100 years. So it's clear that they had nothing to do with the start of it because they were trying to stamp it out. So evidently there's some information there that they didn't want you to know. Because not only did they stamp out Christianity, they stamped out everything that had to do with initiation. Initiation is connected to the stars. That's why they call it the study of the stars, star knowledge. Those people in Rome, by way of Europe, they just want you to know about the earth-centered stuff. Just worry about that because we're going to take control of that and then wipe out any information that has to do with anything else. And they were pretty effective at doing it. They burned books. They tore down temples. You know, not just in the East and Near East and the Mid East, but in Africa, Asia, and any place else they went in the world.
Here in the Vatican.
That had a record. They took the record in for themselves. They didn't understand it, but they knew it was important, so they kept it for themselves. It's cool. And then they destroyed it all. Now, you would say that's a terrible thing. You know, people do stuff like that. But the point of being is that just like the sun rises in the east, and then at noon it goes all the way to its highest point, and then after that it goes down, it sets, and then goes below the horizon. You don't see it anymore, it turns dark. We call that evolution. That's what astrologers call it, evolution. And everything in the universe goes through an evolution, even though it doesn't look like the sun making its passage, because each one of these planets have a pattern that it knows to stick to, because the planet isn't a physical thing. In fact, the planet actually is its orbit. That's the vibration that the Shep was alluding to. When you just focus on the little part and think that that's what it is, that's just saying where the focus is right now. And that focus can change, just like your mind changes a whole lot. But then you have to be aware of that. When your mind changes, you think things are still the same. That's when we start having challenges. This is what astrology tries to point out to us. Saying things aren't like they used to be. You need to get in line with what's going on today. And you say, yeah, but I know this. The stars don't care. They say it doesn't matter what you know, because anything that you know is from the past. And the past doesn't really exist today. This is what astrology helps us remember. It says, any idea that you can come up with is already past. Even if it was just a couple seconds ago. It's already gone. So you might as well let that one go, because it's not going to help serve you right now for what you're doing in this moment. It's like a conversation, actually. When you're talking to somebody, are you thinking of every word you're going to say before you say it? How do you have that conversation? You don't even think about it. That's how great you are, but you forget. You forgot already that you have those kind of powers that can do that. What the planets do, they don't do anything. They're just signs and symbols. Signs and symbols that we have to learn to understand, just like we understand the words that we use, because they're just signs and symbols too. That's what etymology is all about. You break down the sign and the symbol to figure out what's really going on, but you know it's not the word. You go to a street and they say, this is Rhode Island Avenue. Then you point to the sign. And I said, that's not Rhode Island Avenue, that's just a sign. But you don't make a difference between that. You still think they're talking about the street. Now this is how language is used. Why we misunderstand ourselves a lot of times. Why we misunderstand people that we're listening to. Why we misunderstand people that we're talking to and they don't understand us either. Because each one of us have already etched in our mind, this is what this word means. Whether the word has that vibration or not. The truth of the matter is, the word has a vibration, and that vibration comes out of your mouth whether you know what it means or not. This is why we find ourselves in challenging situations. We say, why is this happening to me? Say, because you forgot who you were. And it's okay to forget, as long as you remember. Remembering. What does that mean?
Could you say that again about the words coming out of your mouth?
Pardon?
I'm sorry. Could you say that again about the words coming out of your mouth, and or the words have meaning, even though if you don't understand the meaning?
Yeah, they have a vibration to it.
That's a vibration.
Everything has a
Vibration. Whether you know the meaning or not, you still, the vibration is still there.
Right. When you speak a word, you send out that vibration, and this is what they're talking about, spells. Now, if you're not aware of what the spell is, but you're using the word, you're like that little Mickey Mouse character in Fantasia. You know, he watched the master make the brooms dance all around, but he didn't watch long enough to find out how to make the brooms stop.
Okay.
Then he had a flood. And this is what we got today. Now, before the flood came, allegedly there was one language in the land, and there wasn't really words. Some people call it a crystal language. It's that clear. Everybody already knew what was going down.
Like that Avatar.
There it is. Everybody was connected. Everybody knew they were connected. There wasn't any separation there. That indivisibility was in effect in their consciousness, not just in their thinking. In their consciousness, it was like that. All of these things were one. The cosmos was one. They knew they were one with it. And anything that happened, they didn't have a problem with it. Even if it meant that individual was checked out of the space. They said, that's okay, they're still here, but we don't need that body at this time. And that's a little bit beyond our lesson, but we just want to put that in there so you can see this is about consciousness. That's what astrology is. It's a consciousness language that you have to retrain yourself to understand what is it I'm looking at. And to do that, you can't do thinking. Thinking is a great tool, but you have to have something to think about. If you don't look at stuff first, how are you going to see what's going on? You can think all you want. Your imagination kicks in and starts making up all kinds of stuff. Nature abhors a vacuum. And so you have all these other things that you got to deal with that will cause more challenges until you remember who you are and go back and start looking. This is why we up here put emphasis on looking at things rather than just thinking, even though we know how important thinking is. Now, our feelings are part of the mix too. That's a tool that we have to use. And feelings are most effective when you learn how to balance it with your thinking. A lot of people say, well, I'm better at thinking than I am at feeling. I say, well, you may be, but it's going to cause you a problem in time, guaranteed. Because what these planets do as they move, they have what we call aspects to one another. You know, and it starts off, they start off together, just like in the beginning. And everybody get along just fine because they have the oneness. But one planet has a faster vibration than the other, so it moves a little further ahead quicker. And as the space increases, so does the tension. Neither one of them understand the tension, but it doesn't feel good. What am I supposed to do with this? We had teachers back then that had already gone through the stage that we are going through now. They didn't go through the human stage in a physical sense because they were spiritual. But trust me, they had the same challenges we did, and so they shared that information on what to do. Because we were at one with them, there was no such a thing as distrust. We knew that when they said something, that's the way it was because it happened just like they said. And so we just did what they showed us. And in following their instructions, we were able to do a lot of things that they haven't figured out today. How did they do that? How did they do that? Because we were following the truth. Today they have religions that say that truth isn't in us anymore. And I would say that certainly looks true, but unless you really look at it, how do you know? I mean, you can see somebody acting crazy, but that doesn't mean that the truth isn't in them someplace. It may be buried under a lot of stuff. And since they're God, they have a God self just like we do. Each one of us do. That God self is looking to shine through the sun sign that they are, but it has created a whole lot of tension. It says the tension goes along with the boundary setter, Saturn. It says that you can't go past this point until you understand this right here about your feelings, this right here about your thinking, this right here about the things that you value. Everybody has all of those things. They have values. They have thinking processes. They have the moon. They have feeling. But we don't understand them because we don't pay much attention to them. We are so used to listening to our teachers. But as time passed, the teachers started withdrawing. Pretty much like we do as parents to our children. You know, if you want your child to grow up strong, you can't be there all the time. You have to let them go out and learn some hard lessons on their own. The burning finger learns best. Our teachers do the same thing. So they start withdrawing to the point that they withdrew totally, and that's what we call the Dark Ages. Because we didn't have any divine teachers anymore. The teachers that we had were semi-divine because they were at a stage lower than our divine teachers. And it's not that they were bad, they just didn't know as much. So, occurrences happen that some people call mistakes, but I'm going to call them divine errors because it put us in a situation that we had to learn something new. Because we thought we knew from what we had before, but we had forgotten most of that. Now we find ourselves getting jacked. Say, where do we go from here? This is what astrology is all about. The story is written in the stars of how things started, how they progressed, and what's going on today. Now, it'll explain pretty much the economical situation that exists in the world today when you know how to read it. And that's what we're coming here to see. I'm going to take a little peek at our list, see what we got. Here. Earth again. Air and water. No fire. You don't want to burn nothing. This is going to be a really grounded class. I'm liking this. I was looking last night when I thought I was looking at astrology, but this book came to my mind. It's called The 11 Laws of
The spirit?
Ma'at.
Yes.
And the first law is the law of Asar. And this law states that man must have no preferences. Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
No preferences. And must be impartial and equal to all events and people. It must be realized that no one or no situation can be against one. This is the true meaning of selflessness and atonement, or at-one-ment. And it establishes the foundation to spiritually share in God's omniscience and omnipotence, the power to be able to affect others because they are part of us and we're part of them. Interesting. This is our teaching that we give to the universe. This is what we gave to the Europeans. They didn't understand it. They took it in, wrote it down. They didn't know what it meant. But they still put it down as a record because they knew, not they knew, we knew because we wrote it. We knew we were going to forget. And we had to have a record to remind ourselves. That's how smart we were. They will be back and we'll be clueless. Even though the stars are there, and the stars once spoke to us. They're not speaking anymore because they figured out we don't listen. Why talk to somebody who ain't listening? But the record's still there in the sky. It's still there in the sky. And we can read it in time. Let's go look here, let's see. Let's look at this one. Part of our mission. Everybody has a mission or you wouldn't be on the planet. That's why you came back to fulfill that mission. How many of us clearly know what it is? This mission is pointed to harmony and balance. You. Harmony and balance. You recognize that's your mission?
Yes.
And so you know that if you have that mission to fulfill, it suggests to you that you, in the beginning, won't have harmony or balance. And that's the challenge. And how did I get like this? Now, people from Europe will be teaching you, well, if you want to be in harmony and balance, you need to be still. You know? Stop. But that's not what it means, being still. If you've ever seen a gyroscope, that's kind of close to what's being still. It's spinning like mad, but it ain't moving nowhere. So something's going on. The energy is being expended. Consciousness is happening, but it doesn't look like there's any movement. That's what stillness is. It's dropping it. This is where you're supposed to be, because this is what you came to learn about. But you have to have a lot of experiences just to wake you up to it before you even start learning. People say, why is it taking so long? Well, that's a question you have to have a conversation with yourself about. That duality I was talking about, there's this you and there's that you. This you knows everything, but you don't usually refer to it. So spirit will never force anything on you. If you don't go to it and ask the question, it's going to be silent. Say the information is here for you to get anytime you want it. You say, well, I'm busy right now. They say, fine, see you later. So you go through life doing the things you're doing on the blind. But you're not as blind as you look, because that other self is with you all the time. And it's recording every single thing so you won't forget it. Even though you might think you've forgotten, when it's time for that information to come up, your spirit will be right with it. Let's move a little bit further. Being unique, being a genius. How does it feel to be a genius? I wonder how it feels to be a genius. Would you share with us how it feels to be a genius?
All powerful.
Do you ever feel alone? She's looking. That's a good sign.
Spiritually? No.
What about otherwise? The other lady. They belong to the family too. There's no leaving out. The question on the table is, do you ever feel alone? Just so I'll make sure I hear you correctly, what I heard you say is not much. And so my mind is struggling. Is she saying yes or no? So can you help clarify that? Because this is where we are. When we get in a conversation, one person says one thing, another person introduces some more information that really doesn't clear up what they were talking about.
No, I don't feel alone.
Ever.
I'm always with someone.
You have never been alone?
Quiet time, you mean as a quiet time? Myself.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay, alone and lonely.
I didn't ask about lonely.
No, I don't feel alone. I don't think I ever feel alone.
What about in your journey?
In my dreams,
Journey.
my journey,
Yes.
I guess I'm trying to contemplate because of the duality of it all.
Well, just pick one up. We know that spiritually, you're okay.
I'm okay.
All right. We're looking at the other person because that's the one that seems to be giving me some interesting answers. Because that one, and you correct me if I'm not seeing it clear, that one wasn't taught where to draw a boundary line.
Okay. All right. Now that's what the struggle is. I
astrology is showing us. And because you have that ambivalence, it makes it very difficult for you to engage anybody who takes you to that space. Because it's not clear to you, where do I fit here? What am I supposed to be doing? And that's the kind of aloneness I'm talking about. When you're looking for something that's going to verify who you are in your grounding. The things that you have learned appear just from this conversation. I don't know if it's true you validated it or not, that it's made you forget that feeling of being alone because it's not a good feeling. But feelings, you don't deal with a lot anyway. You are an action person. You do stuff. And then you deal with whatever comes. So,
Amen.
feelings are part of who you are. This is what this is saying. Part of your cosmos. Some kind of way you have put it on the side and diminished that part of yourself. For whatever reason, it's not good or bad. You probably saw it as a safety device. I don't know what it was. I'm not even going to speculate on that. All I know is you put it to the side. And this is a part of your genius, because you can't get to your genius without the people that you seem to always have around. We're going to pause on that one and let you chew on it for a minute.
I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question. Like, when she was talking like earlier about like her whole experience as far as like with the cigarette and stuff, and then she was saying how she would say, I don't want to be around this and I don't want to be around that. Is that her getting outside? Is that a sense of getting outside herself? It's like
Her starting to reconnect with who she really is.
so that's experience, like the whole thing of her connection.
Right.
But no, I didn't say that I didn't want to.
No, not the experience. No, not the event itself. I'm talking about the whole
The overall
experience of it. Is it,
The journey.
the journey?
What started you even thinking that?
Right.
It wasn't anything specific. It was like, all of this comes together, that's this question.
Right. And all that stuff.
But you don't think like that.
Well, I know, I remember saying that I didn't run from it, you know, I didn't have any problems being around people who smoked and did those things, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I didn't run from it, I was still a part of it.
Right.
No, not that. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I wasn't talking about that symptoms. I mean, when you start going outside of yourself and start, being like,
Different.
being different. Like, I can't be around this or be around that.
You got anything what I was saying?
Like coming back into the house and smelling it and saying, oh, it's in everything. Like you didn't realize it when you were in it.
No, when I was smoking, I didn't.
That's what we're saying, that's the
Okay.
difference.
Oh, okay.
That's the different
Oh,
view starting to
okay.
make herself manifest. Even though she's been there all the time, you just never paid much
Just
attention.
pay attention to it.
So that's what we're saying.
Oh, okay,
Okay. Okay.
thank you.
I guess now we're getting to see, maybe we're being enlightened to why we're sitting like we're sitting today. Because when we come to you, you came to learn how to feel and nurture. But you put a lot of energy in a lot of other things. Because feelings are pretty challenging to you in a different way than they were challenging to her. Even though both of you have a similarity in not having your boundaries set early in your environment. And that could be, this is a little, I usually don't make theories, but I can work on this for a minute. I believe this is where we are as a people. That we've been yanked out of our roots, so now we don't understand where the boundaries are anymore. And we're looking to find our way. But every place that we look is telling us that, no, you don't belong here, you ain't good enough for this, yada, 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 yada. come from? We don't even remember. All we know is we have this feeling and it's not good, so let's just get rid of that feeling. If I erase that feeling, I don't have to deal with it. And when you're young, you don't. Because you have all this vitality and strength at that age that there are a whole lot of other things to do. Nature affords a vacuum, so it brings all this other stuff in for you to do. You just did a lot of stuff. And you were very particular about it. And you were good at it. But the major lesson still stands there saying, we got to learn how to feel more. Yeah, but that's painful. Your higher self is still saying, we have to learn how to feel more. The law of Ma'at says you can't have any preference. You have set up a preference. Any preference is going to be detrimental to you. And it's going to show up as a challenge. In relationships, mainly. I can leave you with that because you go inside a lot. You go inside and look at things. And, whew, I'm getting a little fatigued just looking at you looking. But that's part of your journey. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good. This is how you learn because you're going to come to a point just like Darlene did. Like, something ain't right there. I got to find a different way to do it. This is your mission about feeling. This is how astrology works. These are the signs and symbols. And I'm just pulling from one thing in your chart, in your makeup. You've got all of that stuff Shakespeare was talking about. So much you can't even get to it all. Signs and symbols, what do they mean? And because all of us are connected, everything that I'm saying in here in this group has come together expressly for this, is talking a little bit about all of you. Especially since most of you are so grounded. Wow. Lesson. What has value? What do I be steadfast for? What could that be? See, I have to stand for something. But there's so many things going on. Wow. You have a lot of information on the inside. And you don't always communicate it, but since you've been in class, you have been more forthcoming. I think that's really, really good because you're still in the process in your life of internalizing things to understand it better. But I believe you're learning that when you speak out what you don't know, you learn more than when you just go in looking for the answer. And that's part of being in the community, that you're learning. That's the thing that's probably connected to what you're going to stand for, the strongest that you can't be moved on. Because nobody's going to move you once you make up your mind about something. It's like the whole world is standing at you and say, don't blame for me. You don't mean a thing because this is where I am. Right or wrong. No preference. You already got that down. You just need to find one thing for it to do. And you already know it. That's the best part. You already know what it is. Signs and symbols. They're bringing us together closer and closer. The closer I get to you, I like this one. The more it makes me feel. Okay. I'm seeing scenes of ancient Kemet. I'm seeing the twin pillars, a light one and a dark one. And you have the information of both of them. question is, how do you disseminate that? It's your choice on how you disseminate it. But the dissemination is really, really important. Now, you like to disseminate things. You got the information, but you can become one-sided sometimes with your preferences, which is not necessarily a negative thing or a positive thing, it just is what it is. The question is that serving you the best by taking one stand? Because if your mission is to disseminate the information, if you have a preference for where you put it, then it's not going to get some places, just because of your preferences. And the foundation to you is to have no preferences. But that is the you that's grounded in the earth. There's a you that says, I'm here too. And you say, don't bother me right now, I'm busy. It's all good. But the fact that you come up here now at this time especially, that we are giving this information out, is asking you to look at it. Say, you have biases that are blocking you from getting to the very thing that you want, the very thing that you love the most.
Okay, say what again?
You have biases that you have set up.
Okay. Okay.
That I don't really care for that, or that person, or the situation, or whatever.
Put your hand down.
You two know each other.
See you in tell on you.
I'll see you outside.
That DMX is in the house. I didn't even know. Now, I'm pulling this information from just one side in our makeup as a community, but it's where each one of you individually decided you had to come in. And it's like, it's not even a planet. You know, this is how deep astrology gets. This is the orbit where the moon intersects with the orbit of Earth's orbit around the sun. And so if you look out there, you won't see anything. And they call it the moon's node. It has a positive intake side, and it has a negative outgetting side. Negativity is not a bad thing, but the other side of what I've introduced to each one of you so far is that you're very good at doing just the opposite of what I said that you needed to learn how to do. You know how to take the initiative. You know how to break down a wall. You know how to hit somebody. You can be aggressive. You came here to learn a peaceful thing. Everybody, just take what I said and do the flip side. You know what you're good at.
I didn't quite get mine.
You are good with truth-brought principles. You know what the truth is. You won't share it with everybody. And the very people that need it are the ones that you would be best to share it. Some people must know.
So does she make, so in essence, she says, I don't wanna get it.
No, she got it, but she don't
Yeah,
get it.
but she denies that she has it. That's her way of denying that she has it, because she don't wanna share it.
And you see that very clearly.
I told her today. Almost.
I mean, but this is, remember this, we're one.
We're one, okay, right. Okay, I have to remember that. All right,
Because we're not just talking about her.
right.
We're
All
all
about
one.
everybody.
We're all one up in here.
Okay. All right.
See, and this is how we slide and forget ourselves. So it's good that you brought that up, so the rest of us can remember.
All right, okay.
So if I gather this correctly, we have something that we came here to do, but we were placed at the opposite end of that spectrum.
You weren't placed there.
We placed ourselves there.
Yes.
And
Because you already learned how to do that. In other lifetimes, you learn how to do that other thing. You got good at it. You got so good at it, you could do it without, you could do it in your sleep.
Yes,
Without
that's
thinking.
right.
No, I'm just, all of us.
Right.
Okay, so what was I supposed to be good at, or not good at?
You're good at organizing things. You're good at managing situations. When feelings don't have to be involved, you're the person
Yeah.
you get.
Mm-hmm,
But that's not
That's
important
not
to you in this life.
okay. I
Because
am
if you
good
focus
at
there, you're missing the boat. You're kicking your higher self to the curb.
So in essence, we are all of us in this oneness are doing the opposite.
We are comfortable
What?
with the opposite.
Okay.
Opposite.
Now we always put ourselves in a situation to do what we came to do, because that's what your higher self is there with you for. To remind you without telling you. And nobody else can tell you because you're not going to listen to them anyway. So you keep creating situations to remind you this is what you're here for, but you don't want to hear it because it's uncomfortable. It can even get painful. That's what illness and disease are about. When you're a health worker, you work with those people. The reason why they're sick or unbalanced is because they don't want to do something. Even when you give them stuff that's going to help them, they don't want to do that. Because, like I said at the beginning, we do what we do, and we don't deviate from it. It takes a whole lot of pain to get our attention, and even then we're going to resist it. This is what we're good at doing. It's all right. And I say to myself, it's wonderful, wonderful.
I'm still trying to come to grips with who I was before.
Who you are today, that's what you're coming to grips with. Who you were before, that's already happened. That's in the past. It doesn't matter. Even though it was important then, it was as important then as what you are today is important today. But what's important today is much more important than whatever you were. You can forget that. You already know it. You don't have to grapple with it because it doesn't really contribute to what you're doing today. It's just there, possibly as a distraction to see how strong you are. Doesn't this look good? Doesn't this feel good? Let's do it again. And now we come to the real Queen Mother. I read a book about you. It was so good that I said, wow. And the little lady sitting next to you is in training for doing the same thing. I said, whoa. So I had to get out of both of their ways. This lady that I read about in this book, to share it with the rest of you, they called her a mother confessor. And she was the last of her kind. When everybody knew who she was in the land where she wandered around, everybody knew who she was and recognized her right away. And if they didn't, they fell on their knees and started asking for forgiveness as soon as they found out who she was. That's the kind of power that you exhibit. You radiate that out whether you're thinking about it or not. Now this happens to be in line with who you really are. That's the best part. That's pretty interesting. But you're so unique, so different, that you rebel against who you are.
We all know that. We feel that.
I don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But to the extent you don't, you're going to create more challenges in your life. Now, this mother confessor, and I'm bringing the story in to show you how good she is, her job, because human beings had sunk to the level that they couldn't recognize the truth anymore. Like I told you, we don't have the truth in us. And we really try to get away from it if we can, because it's too painful. Your presence was required because when you're there, a person has to tell the truth. They don't have a choice. They have to say what's true, or you'll cause them great pain without even thinking about it. Now,
I believe that thing.
A little bit.
Yes.
A little bit.
Unequivocally. Unequivocally.
this woman in the story, she was walking down a path in the woods, like, you know, she was going someplace, but the guy who was watching her couldn't tell. But he saw there were 4 people after her. And so he dropped down, you know, cut her off and said, "There are people following you. Do you think they're dangerous?" And she said, "They're very dangerous." So you're aware of everything that's going on. So he said, well, he was a seeker. That was his title. And he asked her, well, I'm here to give you some assistance. So she said, what's your plan? So he told her. So she said, okay, what's your backup plan? He told her that. She said, what's your backup to that? He said, I hadn't thought about that. She said, okay. So as they continued down the path, 2 of the guys showed up in front of them. And they were pretty big guys, and they looked like they were pretty professional what they were going to do. So they turned around to go the other way, and the other 2 guys were back there. So this guy, you know, hero type, seeker, he's a wizard, he learned how to do a lot of things, and so he had some skills. The first guy almost took him out, but he recovered and took that guy down. And he was wondering how this woman was faring with the other 3, because he couldn't see what was going on. He was so focused on the one guy. And then another guy came over from behind him and was going to take him over the cliff. And to this day in the story, he still doesn't figure out what happened to that guy. He just saw him fly over the cliff. And when he turned around and looked at the woman, she was standing there saying, we got to go. We can't stay here anymore. And he said, well, what happened to the other 2? She says, oh, they're not a problem. Done. Done deed. This is the kind of power you had. Now, 2 weeks later, he learned a lot more about this woman. And he was having a conversation with her, and he said, back there in the woods, you know, when we were having that skirmish, he said, you really didn't need my help, did you? She said, no, I could have took care of all of it by myself. This is who you are. This is the kind of power you got. You don't need nobody's help. You are the divine mother. Now, at the end of the story, she had a power that had not been taught to her. And this is, I believe, what may be part of your walk. There's a power that you know that's there, but because it hasn't really been given to you, like we get stuff, you don't see it clearly. But when she put herself in a position that she had to use that power to help somebody else, the stuff she did to those 4 guys was nothing. Because she took on about a whole army by herself, because she was a little pissed off. See, when the mother confessor gets mad, the wizard stands on the sideline and just watch. And the guy said, well, what is she going to do next? He said, nobody knows. He says, but just don't get in the way, because when she gets like that, everybody's her enemy. She cuts everything down. She has the power to bring up the truth of anything. So when she walked into these guys, the last 3 that were left, because they thought they were protected by a spell, one of them fell on his knees. He says, what do you want me to do? Because she had the power of truth and everything. She would make you do whatever. She said, how about you die right now? He falls over dead. So the leader of them says, I ain't worried about you because I got the top wizard's spell protecting me. Exactly, that's what she said. She walked over to him and said, on your knees right now. And he was shocked because he found himself going on his knees. She took his blade and neutered him on the spot. And then she said,
I'm sorry, neutered?
Neutered.
eat this.
Ooh, cold.
We are cold.
And she said, eat all of it. When he finished, he said, I'm bleeding out and I'm getting weak. And she said, don't fall over. She said, you don't want to fall over. She said, you stay in that position. Then she took out out his mace and walked over to his head.
Crack the skull.
Definitely. God protected by the mightiest spell in the land. So then she's going to go find this guy that's casting spells. The wizard reminded her, well, he's going to die today if he doesn't know how to open the box. And we have the secret, so he's not going to be able to open the box and let him die. She said, no, that means we got to hurry up. I got work to do and I'm not finished. Now, I'm telling you all that story because that's setting the stage for who you are, the kind of power that you got when you choose to embrace it. You have the power to bring the truth out of every situation, any situation. That's who you are. That's what you got. You are very unique at doing it. You can do it like nobody else does, and nobody has to teach you. The question is, when do you want to embrace it? That's what the reader, in her way, has been trying to bring to you to look to see. I don't know why she doesn't understand that you don't understand. And I guess that's because she has a bias that she thinks that she wants you to get it and do whatever, but that's not her place. This is your place. This is your world. This is your time. What is it that you really want to do? What truth do you want to make manifest without preference? And that's the most important part. Peace, Mother Confessor. You're showing the little sister the way to walk. Yes, you are. Now, all these signs and symbols, I'm reminding you, they come out of all of this. This is what we want to learn to understand. All of you already have information, but you have learned so much other stuff, your cup has gotten filled up with a whole lot of information. You know the capital of this and that, and who's the president. What does that mean? What is that information for? It's not going to help us a little bit.
Columbus, Trenton, and Nina, and Santa Maria.
What is she talking about?
It's about slave ships.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Now, this is really interesting.
The wall man.
Talk about
He likes that corner.
karmic paths. Because even though you two are not close together in years, you have the same mission. You understand the truth. You know what the truth is. It's the method of delivery that is challenging. Now it's interesting, it seems like since you have that is you have the sun sign in the same place. So you have, this is getting really good. You have this syndrome that you know how to do it, but for some reason you're choosing not to. It's your greatest strength when you go to it. And all the time that I've known you up here, I've seen you only do that once. And when I saw you do it that time, you reacted to it like, how did I put myself in? And you got out of that spot real quick. But you have the ability to put the information just like it's supposed to be. You don't even have to go deep with it. All you got to do is say it without the preference, because you have a tendency to prefer this and that, like all of us. Put it out there for everybody. Even the ones who look like they don't want it. Even the ones that look like they want to argue with you, because they're reflecting the man in the mirror. They're reflecting your resistance to do what you need to do. And so it looks like they're fighting with you, but they don't even know what you're talking about. Wow. It ain't about them. This is all you. So as soon as you come to peace with that, and that young lady sitting in the back can help you with that. Because she's going to do the same thing. Only from a more steadfast nature. Her resistance is even greater than yours, which is hard to believe, but I guess women are stronger than men. I don't know.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But she can show you a path of light that you haven't considered. The lower you, the higher you already knows. But you don't listen to him very much because he's in conflict with what your preference is. And you're strong enough to resist him. And you have been resisting.
No, like I had mentioned first, I feel I'm on a journey too. And I'm constantly looking for that compatible person to take that journey with. But that is the missing part of my whole life, I almost say, because it's a constant journey doing that. It's like trying to find that person that really would take you to another level, and I'm not, that's hard to do.
It's challenging.
It's very challenging, for me anyway.
Well, that's because you know how strong you are.
Okay.
You're not going to give yourself a simple challenge.
Okay.
That's the whole point. Now, I was listening to, you say, the etymology of the words you were using there. I said, compatibility. I said, I don't know if I'm smart enough to break that one down. I might need you two to help me out. Compatible, what does that mean? Because I believe I know what it means to
It's
you.
like your yin and yang, like it's the other side of you that makes you whole.
But you're already
You're already whole. Like you said, we all put here for a purpose.
right.
So if you put here for a purpose, it's not all about you.
Right.
It's all about everything that you find on your journey.
Which happens to you.
Okay. But
At the same time, see,
at the same time, I understand that. But I'm still saying you're still finding, you're looking or you're searching for that other piece. Go ahead, brother.
I just want to
Yeah, okay.
you
Yeah,
feel me?
go ahead.
No, I totally understand what you're saying,
Okay.
but I was just, maybe trying to give you a little bit of advice that's saying, it's kind of hard to find happiness if you're not happy yourself.
Right, okay.
By
You know what I'm
yourself.
saying? By yourself. So
I'm
a lot
happy
of
with
times-
myself. I'm really, I almost say impressed with myself in a way. I feel good about the things I've accomplished really in life.
I mean,
But I'm just saying it's still, it's still that something I want to attain.
right.
And it's hard to get there.
What I'm saying is that we pay attention to right here, like what is being showed right here. I think the message is we're learning about self. So
But you learn it every day. You're maturating 24/7. You never say, like you used before, look in the mirror and see the same person.
Right.
You're going to always see something different because all of your encounters every day, all of your searches every day is going to take you to another place.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
but I'm saying because of this right here, it seems like what I'm trying to say is it seems like in every aspect, it seems like we always taking it somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we all trying to figure out.
Your back
like,
ain't
all
open.
the time, every time something go on, we give it to somebody else.
Okay.
It's like you're the king. And the king has power of life and death over everything. But if he says yes, it's a yes. No conversation. If he says no, it's a no. No conversation. When you meet that boundary, because that's where you set the boundary up, with yeses and nos, that's the challenge to you. Because you know, in order to overcome that challenge, you have to say yes, but you don't want to say yes in that situation. You have enough life experiences to show you what happens when you say yes, when you don't want to say yes. And so you said, I'm not going there. You can't make me go there, and you're strong enough to stand in that. That's why I read the law of Ma'at first. It says, if you have a preference, you cannot accomplish what you came here to accomplish. No matter what you think, how you feel, what information you got with that.
But I don't want a yes man. I just want, you know.
No, I'm not talking about the woman, I'm talking about you.
No, I'm just saying, you know, when I do offer whatever I have, I look for feedback or contradiction.
But
I
you can't have
want
it.
that, you know.
You can't have it, you're the king. King
No,
can't have
I'm not,
nothing.
see, I don't think that's me.
And that's where we are.
That's what we are.
That's exactly where we are.
Exactly where
Because
everybody's
you,
at.
Yes, it's still a preference. It's
see,
still
that's your
I
preference.
want that, you know, interaction. I want that.
Your
you know.
desire is strong, am I
Yeah.
correct?
It's there.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if it's not fulfilled, you won't be happy.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm saying that is what's blocking you. I'm suggesting that's what's blocking you.
I'm listening to you.
And I just want you to look at that. I'm not saying that you have to do it because I know the king, whatever he says, is going to be that way. That's how you set up these signs and symbols that you got to get through this impossible task that doesn't seem to have an answer. And yes, there will be people there that are going to influence you, but you're the person with the last say. It's going to be the way that you say, because it's already that way. Once you say something, well, I know when you close the door's closed. People can stop talking. Because you ain't hearing them. And so, that's what you got. That's your power. But when you do that, it's tripping you up. And it's not saying that you're looking for a yes person or that you're going to be a yes person. It's just that you're equal to anything that can come to you.
Right. So it shouldn't be.
I believe
It should be harmony.
Well, if you're equal to it, then why say no? Because it's needed. It's not needed, like you said, it's not needed for you. You already got it.
I don't have it all.
I'm saying you do.
That's why I want my
You do.
You do.
You just don't remember.
You gotta remember.
Remember we got it all.
That's what remembering is. It's like you have members. But they're all spread all over the place.
We lost our connection.
You
see
still
it
doing,
right
you still
here.
doing the treasure hunt.
That's a prime example. Just showed it to us right there. We said the earth from the sun. We lost our connection to the earth when we went to the sun. And then we started talking about the sun. We started focusing on the Son of God, Jesus, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the this person, the that person on this side. We're not grounded over here on the earth where we're supposed to be at.
So we got,
Grounded so we can know for sure. Not a belief, because a belief is B-E-L-I-E-F. If you look between the B, the E, and the F, you see the word lie. So it's not a belief. It's not something you believe in. It has to be a fact. It has to be something you standing on. Over here, you standing. On this side, when you connected to the earth, you standing. But we're over here right now with all the mess we've been taught, all the stuff we've been learning over the last. So we over here. The whole thing we're trying to do is to get back from here, back to grounded. So once you get grounded back there, then you will come to, yeah, I do know it all. I am all.
I ain't scared.
I ain't scared. I am all.
look what that
I'm gonna
woman
be all.
said.
Stop becoming those things that you want. You know, like the love that you look for. You stop becoming the love that you want to be. Because you stop becoming that thing. You gotta become it before it manifests. You see what I'm saying? Once you get back grounded, that's all that's being said.
And we're sharing at the same time. You're already grounded. You just forgot it.
Just forgot it.
Those hard experiences that have happened to every one of us.
Whew.
You know, it's easy to forget something that's gone in your favor. We remember the pain greatest of all.
That's low.
And pain will make you turn away. I don't want to feel that again. And that's what's reinforced on this planet. If you have pain, we got a pill for it. We got medication. We'll cut your leg off. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, we'll take one vein from here and we'll catch it there.
We can fix everything.
And this ain't working right.
And you're saying, if it helps me not to deal with the pain, then fine. And That's our separation from
That's
ourselves.
what the separation.
That's our separation from ourselves. Where are we going now?
Careful.
Management.
Natural.
The management.
Usher.
Turn that camera around
Whoa.
on yourself.
Yeah, pointed at yourself.
Once he speak, I'm gonna sit down and point.
Okay, you pointed at the chair you about to sit in.
Unless cough on one.
Yeah.
Get up, brother.
Keep it right on it.
Yes, Nasa. That's here.
I wish I could zoom in on you too. Yeah.
Listen, we can talk for a minute about feelings, because that's where you're most at home with. You can feel things, you know how to nurture somebody. You got that down pat. Being the boss, being the bad boss, not the big boss, being the hard boss, that nobody likes. They say, he too hard, he want me to do this, he want me to do that. That's not my place, you don't care about all of that. You say, I don't want to hear the excuse. This is what I want now. Period. Amen. This is what you came to master. Because you can tell people to do that, but you don't feel good about it. You said they ought to know that themselves. You said, and they do, and they should. But that's none of your concern. You're being placed at the head to remind them. Because when you remind them, you remind you. So this is who I got to be. I have to be right on it. Is this serving me what I'm doing right now? Because you see people doing all kinds of stuff that's not serving me. Man in the mirror is looking back at you saying, okay, what you see is true. But now we're going to ask you, what are you doing that's not serving you? If you have one thing on the list, it's too much. It's too much. This is your mission in life that you have chosen to accept. Be that hard master. Because when a person doesn't do it, you'll say, well, you knew I was a hard master. Don't be feeling bad that now I'm firing you. You're going to have to get out there and make your way anyway. I was giving you a chance, you didn't want it, later for you. Just get out of my presence. Will you be that hard? Because I know you can be. But when you get pissed off, it comes out.
You get pissed off?
So we know it's there.
He gets pissed off.
It's in the book. He wouldn't display it in front of people because he doesn't like being that way.
Right, so. He displays like this calm.
He has that.
Yeah, I know, I see that.
Yeah.
You know, but what you're saying is you're asking him to be the opposite.
When the situation calls for it.
Right, right. Now, I just want everybody to understand.
Yeah, because when he's easy on that person that is slacking, that's the way he is with himself.
Right.
And that's what needs to be put in alignment. Get out of alignment with himself. And that's what that person is coming around to show him.
That's what they did, like the experience, is there to show him.
That's the experience.
Right.
Peace, brother. Peace.
Those corners, those corners,
Be in harmony with
those
people.
corners.
Be trying to be in harmony with people.
Out there like,
Walk around telling I shouldn't be.
Your memory of
It's
experience past
Right.
says when you try to be harmonious with this person that's a Yahoo, you already know what's going to happen. But the truth is, if you haven't really looked, you don't really know what's going to happen until you step into, like you said, step into who that person is.
Right.
If you don't know who that person is, you don't know what's
Okay.
going to happen.
Okay.
Even though your experience
Okay.
tells you, you got to get ready. Knock this sucker out. That's not the truth.
That's not the truth all the time. I know exactly.
And you have to be the one to stand up. Even if you make a mistake and take a hit. When you make the mistake, you say, okay, now I know. And still helicopter or being on the ground.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm
In
saying?
the midst
My
of.
father used to always tell me, my problem was you see the forest before you see the trees, same,
Mhm.
same thing.
Same thing. And this is what our challenge is, not just with ourselves, but with our whole community. Because we're meeting people like us every day.
Every day, all
Every
day.
day. They keep
Everybody
saying,
come in contact with me.
when you gonna stand up? And we say, not today. Not today. Now, this has just been the introductory course. I want to see
Wow.
who wants to take it. Dorita says it's going to be $15 a session.
It's important.
Nothing today, because I want, if you want to take it.